Breaking news: Arsenal have finally completed a signing. Now, I'm just joking, man. That would have been music to my ears. I'm sure you Arsenal fans would have felt the same way. With the clock ticking on deadline day, it seems like there's radio silence where Arsenal's concerned. So why don't I share my screen and let's see the current landscape? Now, we live in hope. We hope. You never know. At the time of making this video, there's about 3 hours left of the January transfer deadline day. Shit. Boy, let's hope so, innit? I don't want to hear we tried. We all know in the next 24 to 48 to 72, and better yet, the whole next week, we're going to be told how Arsenal in the great financial plays. We're getting this one, that one in the summer. It's already starting. In fact, that's how it started in January. We're linked with Sesko, linked with Kroenke, linked with Vlahovic, linked with this one, linked with that one. Obviously, some are more realistic than others. Tel and Watkins in the last couple of weeks, well, the last couple of days with the market. I hear that. I hope you tried. I have no doubt Arsenal tried. But in the same sense of if you try to win a football match and if you win a football match, there's different conversations. The same applies to the transfer market, people. So, yeah, man, to be betting on young but inexperienced Ethan, and this is all assuming no one gets injured. Kai Havertz, the young Ethan, Trossard, Martinelli, Raheem Sterling, Asterix Loney. Fair enough. If you think that's enough, fair enough. We should have done what we needed to do in the summer, people. Seems like everyone's making moves but us. City are probably the biggest spenders, I would say, in January. They're getting that guy Nico from Porto. What is this first thing? David Ornstein shares what he's hearing about Arsenal on deadline day. I mean, what could you hear that we don't like? If it's nothing different, if you're not saying we're bringing in a player, I don't know, people. He said, please let me know, Dave. Well, someone asked, please let me know, David. Arsenal have given up on the window. Are they going to do anything? And not to our knowledge, no, they explored plenty of options. Sorry to let everyone down. It's not my fault. Of course, it's not. Of course, they would have liked to add to their resources. They explored the market. But apart from the Watkins situation, other than that, there was no realistic chance of getting Sesko, Isaac, or anyone else who was linked with them. You knew you weren't getting them kind of man in January. So we explored plenty of options. And really, between the inexperienced Jason Ito, between, Mikel Arteta or anyone in the recruitment front, nobody could get a player in. Fair enough. You're not going to have to live or die by what you do or don't do on and off the football pitch. I sense relative calm from Arsenal inside the club. They know it's a gamble. The stakes are high here. There's no guarantee it will go to plan, but there's no guarantee that it would go to plan if they brought somebody in. Of course not, but you'd rather try. That tells me, in fact, better, I want to ask you, lot, if we was, God forbid, but if we weren't in the top 4 position in the Premier League and it looking very likely that would be the third successive season in the Champions League, or qualifying for the Champions League. So if we were 5th, 6th, and we had a chance of getting Champions League football, but it wasn't necessarily a shoo-in, would we have acted? Now, I have no doubt Mikel Arteta and the players would like to win the Premier League trophy, but where you look at how last season ended, the summer we had, Mikel Arteta at the beginning, end of 2024, said we got the smallest squad in the league and we've got a lack of players. In the build-up to the City game, he said we've got 90. We came into the season trying to compete for 4 trophies with a squad of 19, and there was 3 or 4 long-term injuries. But it seems like we're having that language around sell till we can buy and austerity measures. It seems to me, not necessarily Mikel Arteta or the players, but those above where the ethos comes. We're in the Champions League, or we look a shoe-in to be in the Champions League, and at a minimum finishing, I hope first. I would probably say second. Worst case scenario, third. Mathematically, you can still finish 4th, but we're on course to get Champions League football. So I think that's why there's a relative calm. And, not only are we going to probably be briefed about what this football club is going to do during the summer, as you guys know, we're probably going to start to hear, the Benjamin Whites, the Sackers, the absentees. It's looking a bit more positive on the injury front. So that's of little to no comfort to me, but at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about it, people. Sky Sports I bet they've echoed the same thing, people. I'm told, and it's my understanding, there'll be no ins and outs today at Arsenal, and indeed in the whole of January. No business, we understand. So, I feel sorry for the Sky Sports done that standing outside London Coley or the Emirates, or do I? Because you're probably getting paid for doing nothing in your shift, but it is freezing. Nonetheless, moving on, people. As you know, it does look like Mathys Tel, well, he basically is a Spurs player on loan, people. Again, we can banter Spurs. We bantered them when it looked like the move wasn't happening. They've made it happen. They did get rejected for Mark Gurley, though, and they did sign a player called Batty. So, Arsenal held exploratory conversations for Tel, but did not advance with negotiations. And that seems the same for Manchester United. Spurs fans are within their rights to say, you lot laugh at us for getting rejected. You lot got rejected. We clearly heard the terms and conditions, and we didn't want to go through with the deal. The same for Chelsea, same with United. But it is what it is, people. Apparently, Arsenal made the right decision on Tel. I would have bought him permanently, but fair enough. They might not feel the same way. And again, we're being briefed on the Sesco's, the Nico Williams, and etc. of this world, people. In fact, even with on the Tel front, people, apparently Spurs are paying, some say 5, some say 5.5, some say 6 million to take him on a dry loan. Now, you never know. He could be comfortable at Spurs, play well there, and they buy him permanently. This just seems like you're developing a player for Bayern Munich. We have to find some copium, people. And to be fair, the minute he's rejected you and then came back, and he's probably showed his age, you're in, you're out, you shake it all about. They're set to pay 6.5 million for this Tel loan, people. There's no obligation or option to buy. Tel's camp says he's open about his future and is happy to see how things go. So you can't rule out him having a permanent stay in N17. And to be fair, we can criticize Spurs. You know, we can see they're in the mud. Postecoglou is a good manager with young players, and there is a platform for him to play, probably more so than there would have been at Arsenal. I think he would have played games, but I think you're more a shoe-in for Spurs, which, to be fair, they got Solanke and Son. It's not a guarantee, but I think you would have got game time here. I think you get a lot of game time at Spurs. Chelsea got more players than you can count, so I could understand that. Manchester United with Rashford and Anthony going, and it looking like Garnacho could have went. And obviously, Ahmad's going to need a bit of a break here and there as United compete in the Europa League and try and salvage the league. It could have made sense. And up front, they play Kobe Mainoo as a false nine. Højlund and Joshua Zertsky are not really cutting the mustard as an out-and-out striker. So you never know, people. I think it's a good signing for Spurs, and Harry Kane probably helped them out, and it's probably an IOU, but yeah, man, it is what it is. The reason why Arsenal chose not to sign Tel with Bayern Munich striker set to join Spurs, people. Arsenal didn't ultimately make a move for Tel on deadline day, and the Gunners opted against the deal for one particular reason. According to TBR, Tottenham didn't go for Tel because of the structure of the deal. I don't know if they mean Arsenal there. Tel is set to join Spurs on a straight loan, and Arsenal weren't willing to go with such a move. Indeed, Arsenal wanted to have a buy option included in any deal to sign the teenager. I know it's not the same, but we didn't have a buy option when we signed Martin Odegaard. You still managed to negotiate. I don't think Tel was ever high up you lot's list. And they weren't willing to bring the striker in on just a temporary basis, people. Tel has been told by a company over the past 24 hours that his playing time would not increase this season. It is what it is, man. I'm sure some of you are doing dry January. Arsenal probably taking that too literally, people. And I know a lot of you don't want to see this, people, but apparently Stan Kroenke has put his hand in his pocket to fund the spending needed. I thought he didn't. What's going on with these articles? Needed that get the North Londoners back in contention for titles and significantly lucrative Champions League football. Apparently, he's underwritten financial losses of 311 million since Arsenal last posted a profit in 17-18. Bearing in mind, 2018 is when he took charge of the club. We're back in the Champions League, foot's off the gas. So that kind of tells you everything of where we're going. We got some of the most expensive tickets, bringing out apparel, all of that sort of stuff. They have spent money, but yeah, can forget, unless something crazy happens, you can forget about Ollie Watkins. I know we smashed City 5-1, but some of you lot will remember Bernardo Silva. He's fouled Trossard and then he's kicked the ball. Very lucky boy to get away with that, but it all depends on what football club you watch, people. Arsenal's next 3 transfer priorities revealed as Mikel Arteta's thoughts crystal clear. Great, we know the cycle as Arsenal fans. It's like that. Now we're going to do everything in the summer. We're going to sign Messi, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Zola, this one, that one, and the third, people. Mikel Arteta, for what it's worth, I do think you have to share responsibility because the club's all in this together. But from your language in January, it seems like you want players, you're quote-unquote frustrated. We look at the summer, I still don't think the club backed the gaffer enough. But at the end of the day, you have been allowed to get as many goalies, left backs, and everything. Now, if they've given you a certain budget and it's not enough, maybe we could have spent differently. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I'm happy with Calafiori signing. And hindsight makes everyone a genius. If we all had hindsight, our lives would be better, people. But Lewis-Skelly took his place. Academy boy took his place. Mikel Moreno is not getting anywhere near the strongest midfield. Raheem Sterling, deadline day, it says it all. Neto, deadline day, it says it all. Is this really capitalizing on the opportunity we've had in the last few years, or closing those small details of fine margins? Can I be forgiven for thinking it's a fallacy for Arsenal to win a trophy? Is it gross negligence, incompetence, naivety, stupidity, complacency? Or is it a bunch of everything as to why we lead ourselves at this point? I don't know, people. I don't know. But anyways, people, again, we're seeing the same names. You know, we've been linked with Ollie Watkins. So naturally, Watkins, Sesko, Isaac, Gyökeres, these are going to be the ones consistently linked with us over the summer. It's also believed the club will be open to signing a wide forward, preferably someone who's versatile and can play across the front line. Now, I ain't got bare names yet, but I hear, you know, I hear the logic between pivoting on a striker, seeing if you could get Ollie Watkins and be a bit cute and clever, testing the waters to see if there's Sesko. But you knew Sesko weren't leaving mid-season. You knew Nico Williams wasn't. You knew Gyökeres wasn't. You know Isaac wasn't. Yes, you can activate release clauses and do all of this, but come on, man. Those that understand football know it's not as straightforward as that. It is, but it's not, right? I thought we would have at least gone for a winger or an inside forward because surely the profile pool is bigger. There's scope for a young, impressionable talent because now you're betting on he was on the bench, but young Ethan. And again, he has to be given scope to develop and, you know, add consistency into his game. Kai Havertz has scored a lot more goals than some of his attackers. And I mean this in a respectful way, but for all of the good and the bad of Kai Havertz, if he's one of your key players, if you're living by him scoring goals, even though he scored a Champions League winning goal, that's an issue in itself. Big up Trossard, but Trossard goes through the motions. Martinelli, the game against City was a step in the right direction, but we're still here. And as I would say in Jan, you can do the we tried thing. I applaud you for doing that. But then the next side of it is, did players come in or not? Did we leave the summer window feeling confident in the bodies? Nope. So we're paying for our sins in that regards. Jorginho is still linked with a move back to Brazil and Flamengo. Apparently, we've already made moves behind the scenes to bring in Zubamendi, which is great for the 2025-26 season, which will be a World Cup year. Forgive me if I'm wrong. From what we've just entered February, there's a lot of football to be played. But so yeah, people, Arsenal, the roller coaster, the merry-go-round, we're here. In good news though, Lewis-Skelly, who's emerged this season, apparently he's in line for an England promotion next month. I'd be amazed if Ethan Nwaneri and obviously Myles Lewis-Skelly are not in the England under 21s at the very minimum. Obviously, Lewis-Skelly's probably got more of a chance of gaining a full England cap. It seems like England are quite weak at left back. There is a couple of talents. And to be fair to, you know, Albania and Latvia, this could be the possible opportunity for Thomas Tuchel to get a feel of things. And for me, it'd be a great reward for Myles. You know, he's going to get a new deal when the time's right. He's 18. He could sign a 5-year deal. Personally, if I was his agent, I'm trying to sign a 3-year deal with an option of a 4th or a 3-year deal, just because from that point, within the next 12 or so months, you're at the halfway point. If you keep doing what you're doing, and you're improving and his progress is even better based on what he's doing, you're going to get more money. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. You know, Lewis-Skelly, Saka does it. You know, Saka don't sign long-term deals like that. We're always talking about Saka renewals. I know love Lewis-Skelly, come from the academy, homegrown, all of that stuff. But the end of the day is, and it helps that he's a nice person. Clearly, he's been given a great education with his family and everything. But that's all irrelevant football. You're here at Arsenal. You get scouted because you're a good player. Mikel Arteta has played you because you're a good player. It's not, they don't like you. They like what you can do for them. And that's in life. Never mistake it, people. I love the fact that Lewis-Skelly's upgraded his stature in the team. He's got his own chant, 49, Lewis-Skelly. That's a madness for an 18-year-old. But get your bread. So yeah, Thomas Tuchel, again, it's a World Cup next year. He needs to assess what he needs to assess and see who can play. You'd imagine, I don't know if he's injured at the moment, but Newcastle's Lewis Hall has to be trying a thing as well. So yeah, big up Lewis-Skelly in that regards, people. Again, Spurs are set to pay 6.5 million quid for the loan. We've gone over that. What is this? We're set to make a huge bid for Nico Williams in the summer. So yeah, we're at that point as Arsenal fans. And to see, we can ban the Spurs, but Spurs have actually proactively tried to fix the issues in their squad with signings. City have been buying bare players to kind of combat their struggles. And even when you look at Pep Guardiola, he's probably held his hands up and said, you know what? I need to get players in because, again, I think it was in the Athletic. I can't remember when. I think it was last summer. Apparently, before obviously we've seen what City are like now. Apparently, the people above Pep, they were saying, yo, we need to replenish the squad. We need to do this and that. Pep was saying it's cool. Clearly, he's learned from his mistakes. Aston Villa have been busy. I'm not sure if you support Arsenal, Man United. Liverpool, obviously, they're top of the league and they're flying in the champs. But I watch Liverpool supporters content and I've got Liverpool friends. Even they're not happy. We all know January is a difficult time to do business, market opportunities, only want players that improve your team, yada, yada, yada. I hear that, Arsenal, but that applies to everybody, surely. So, yeah, man, it's a merry-go-round settings, man. Maybe we get a signing in. Boy, I want to ask you lot, though, do we have enough currently in this squad to, last the distance until May?